guys, Karen Miller here. Welcome to another one of my videos. Please remember to hit subscribe to be notified of when I do new videos, and all the links to my social media channels and my free nap guide are in the description below. Please feel free to also add a comment below if you've got any questions, or DM me on my social media channels and I'll be happy to chat to you about your situation. So this video is talking a bit about how can you make those naps longer. So the first thing I would ask you to do is to try and find out why the naps are short in the first place, because there'll be a reason. So it's very unlikely that your child just doesn't want a nap, or doesn't need that many naps. Usually little ones that don't nap well, take short naps, often wake frequently at night as well, because the two go hand in hand. Although sometimes you will find a baby or toddler who sleeps perfectly fine at night but just will not take naps that are longer than kind of 30 minutes through the day. And the problem with that then is that you spend your whole day trying to get them to nap, because they can't stay awake very long in between the naps because they're not having long enough for the naps. So you can sometimes find yourself just having like the whole day is just back-to-back naps. Wherever you go, the little one falls asleep and there's no structure, there's no consistency, and there's no like you've got no idea about when they need a nap, which makes your days seem quite chaotic and can be very frustrating. So try and find out why they're not napping. Usually they're either overtired or they're undertired. You can usually tell a baby that's overtired because they fight you on the sleep, so they take a long time to get to sleep, and they're really upset and doing a lot of eye rubbing, yawning, that kind of thing, but still will not sleep. If they're undertired, usually they will fall asleep relatively quickly, a bit too quickly perhaps, and then wake up after the short nap wide awake and will not go back to sleep for even like 5 minutes, or even attempt to go back to sleep. They're just wide awake. That's kind of when they're undertired. So those are the two kind of main reasons for short naps. But also little ones can take short naps if they don't know how to settle for the nap, so they need the assistance from you. So maybe you don't realize it, but you are actually you're giving them 20-30 minutes or so to settle, and when they don't, you're just like, okay, I will just put you in the carrier, or I'll put you in the pram and you'll take a sleep. And they've become used to that now, so they're kind of waiting around, hanging out for that assistance to get them to have a nap. And obviously you're not doing that during the night because it's the middle of the night, and sometimes you don't realize that you are assisting quite a lot. So teaching them how to self-settle and sleep, put themselves to sleep, will also help with that issue. But the main thing that you can do to really lengthen those naps is to look at awake windows, and the best way to do that is to make sure that your little one is waking up at a consistent time every morning. So regardless of how well they slept in the night, so even if they've had a really bad night, unless they're unwell, I would always urge my clients to wake their baby up or their toddler at 7 a.m. Now this is going off the basis that you're doing a 7 till 7 day. If you want to do 8 till 8 or 6 till 6, that's fine, but you just need to be waking them up consistently at the same time, and that way you can more easily use the awake windows. So if they're awake at 7, you know that if their awake window is an hour and a half, then that means that you need to be popping them down for about 8:15, in order to give them 10-15 minutes to be able to settle themselves to sleep. Ideally you wouldn't have them fall asleep straight away, like within minutes, because that can mean that they are absolutely exhausted, and ideally they wouldn't be taking kind of half an hour to get to sleep either, because that can mean that they are overtired. So yeah, about 15 minutes to kind of fall asleep. So 15 minutes before the end of the window, pop them down for the nap. Now if you don't know what your little one's awake window is, which lots of people don't, I have a free guide for babies 4 months to 12 months, and the link to that is in the description below. So go and check that out, find out what their window is and stick to it like glue, basically. That will help you as well to get the right number of naps in, because very often babies only need like 2 to 3 naps a day, that's it. They shouldn't really be having more than that. So, and they only need so much day sleep as well. They only need a certain amount of day sleep and a certain amount of night sleep for their age. And although night sleep is more important than day sleep, you do want them to be getting the naps that they need and the day sleep they need during the day, so that they're not grumpy and they're not struggling to concentrate and to learn new skills and to eat even, which can really be affected by tiredness. Like, you want them to be in a good mood, and you want them to be able to go down for sleep, you know, when they're in a good place, ready for sleep, not fighting it or absolutely shattered and rubbing their eyes like crazy because they're desperate for a sleep. So, you know, awake windows will really help with this and making sure that they get the number of naps they need. And it also helps as well to set an age appropriate bedtime if they're getting the right amount of naps. Now, with naps, I think because people don't have as long, because you're busy, you're rushing around, it can be harder to work on prolonging those naps as well. So if you really want to work on this and you really want to make a change, I would advise you to clear your diary for at least 1 week, if not 2, so that you can be really consistent in attempting this and giving it a really good effort. A really good tip is to keep a log. This is what I do with my clients. I ask them to fill in a log every 24 hours so that I can see what time the baby went down versus what time they actually fell asleep, so I can calculate the total day sleep and advise bedtime based on how much day sleep that they have had. So you can do this yourself. Have a log, write down the timings, the time they went to sleep, how long it took them to go to sleep, sticking to a particular awake window, and you can try with that consistently for kind of like 3 days. And if they still aren't, they still aren't having long naps, maybe you need to adjust the window, maybe you need to close it or you need to open it. But observe what you see with regards to their behavior as to whether or not you think you need to close the window or open it. This is why having a guide is a really good idea as well, so you've kind of got the average to go on. If your child has been taking short naps for a while and is having frequent night wakes, they will be quite overtired, so you might want to start with a smaller awake window than average to start with, just to help you get on top of the overtiredness, get on top of a bit of the sleep debt, and yeah, give yourself some time. So like I say, it shouldn't take more than kind of 20 minutes for them to fall asleep. If it's taking longer than that, you've probably missed the window. If they're going to sleep as soon as their head hits the pillow, you've probably missed the window. So about 20 minutes for them to go to sleep. And then when they wake up at the 30-minute mark, which is, by the way, 1 sleep cycle, so it's quite common, 30 to 40 minutes, you want to try and get them back to sleep. So you want to give this a good effort as well. You want to give that at least 40 to 60 minutes of attempting to get them back to sleep before you kind of abandon it and think, right, they're not going to sleep. Either pop them in the pram and try and see if they will go off with a bit of motion, or get them up for 40 minutes, 60 minutes, and then try again later to get another bit of sleep in, to try and get them not completely overtired by bedtime. But yeah, it really just needs a really consistent effort, a really planned, structured approach where you are keeping an eye on everything, you're tracking everything, and you're tweaking and troubleshooting along the way, essentially doing my job, what I do with my clients, to try and figure out what they need. This is something I do straight away with my clients. I always try and work on the overtiredness, the sleep debt first. I try and get them onto an age appropriate schedule first before we kind of tackle any kind of self-settling. So if you do want to teach your little one to sleep independently, doing this first will also help, because trying to teach an overtired child to self-settle is a lot harder. And yeah, if that just feels like such a big mountain for you to climb, or if you've maybe been trying this and you still can't figure it out, or you've solved one thing and then they start waking early, or they start fighting bedtime, then reach out and get in touch. Like, send me a DM, we can chat about your situation. I can give you some pointers in the right direction, or I can give you more information about my 4-week program and how that works, and we can discuss me kind of doing this for you, because it's not easy. So I hope you found that useful, guys. Please hit like if you did, and remember to subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys.